Are you ever looking at a beautiful interior and you ask yourself, does anyone actually live here? Do you guys live here? Or is this just a house you visit on occasion? I feel like that all of the time when I'm scrolling on Instagram and reading books. In today's video, we're gonna talk about some impractical interior design advice that you should probably stop taking. It's good advice for people who don't live in their homes or they just use their homes for show, but it's not good design advice for everyday people. So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty in today's video. So the first impractical interior design tip that I hear people spew all the time is that all of the art in your home should be complementary. It should have the same color scheme, it should be the same style, and so forth. And this is design advice that I've given before, and this entire video is going to be me going back on things that I've said because I've evolved and I've come back to planet Earth. Finding art that comes in a series is very difficult. You may be at Home Goods or a gallery or somewhere, wherever it is you like to find art, and you might find one of something. Are you supposed to leave a piece of art that you love at the store because it's not the same right color, or it's not in a set, or it's not in the same right frame? That is just absolutely ridiculous. Whenever I'm working with my design clients, the step that we always struggle with is artwork, because artwork is so personal. So if you find a piece that speaks to you and all the rest of your home is abstract and this is a landscape, still buy it. I actually believe that an art collection tells more of a story when the pieces are different as opposed to when they're similar. I think it's a stupid interior design rule because it really limits creativity. I think when it comes to the home, unless you have a massive budget, it's very hard to be creative, because a sofa is a sofa, a chair is a chair, and a coffee table is a coffee table. But a piece of art, that is what really can elevate your space. So please stop listening to that interior design rule. If you really want to make your art feel like it matches, even though you're not buying from the same artist or buying things in a set, what you can start doing is making sure that you have all of your art framed by the framer or put in the same frames. What you can also do to cut costs is, instead of going to Michael's, instead of going to a traditional framer, you can go to your local sports shop where they frame jerseys. They also frame artwork too, and it tends to be a lot more affordable than other frame shops like Michael's. But stop listening to the design rule, because it's really limiting your creativity and it's making finishing your home more difficult. Ask yourself how long you've had a blank wall because you're looking for something that perfectly matches another painting, or you've been looking from a painting from this exact artist. Once you stop doing that, your home will come together a little bit faster, and you'll also feel more confident in your design process. Another very impractical piece of design advice I hear people give all the time is that you should practice symmetrical balance. So if you're unfamiliar with balance, balance is the idea that your home should feel cohesive and it should feel harmonious, right? And that is a very important design tenet, and I'm not saying ignore that. But symmetrical balance is the concept that one part of your room mirrors the other side, mirrors. So whatever you see on one space is the identical thing that you see on the other side of the room. I practice symmetrical balance a lot, and it's something that I enjoy, but it isn't the only way. So symmetrical balance is great, but it can be very expensive because you have to buy two of the same thing. Symmetrical balance can also be very boring because it's two of the exact same thing. So unless you're into very modern and contemporary interiors, or honestly traditional interiors as well, if you're kind of with outside of the modern and traditional binary, it's very difficult to make that space have life. So I want you to actually start experimenting with asymmetrical balance. Asymmetrical balance is very similar to symmetrical balance, but we're filling the space with different items. We're still filling both spaces. We're not leaving something empty and leaving it kind of like flat and disjointed and looking kind of funky, but maybe we have a painting on one side of a mirror and then a plant on the other side, or a lamp on the other side. We're filling both spaces, right? We're making the space feel harmonious, but we're not using the exact same things every single time. Again, this will just move your design process along a little bit faster, and it will just create more visual interest in your home. Again, I have nothing against symmetrical balance. I practice it all the time, but I also get hundreds and hundreds of comments of people telling me my home is boring, and that's fine. Symmetrical balance isn't for everyone, but your home should still feel balanced. Just try asymmetrical balance. There are other forms as well, and you can let me know down below if you want me to explore the other tenets of interior design with you and kind of break them down. I'd be happy to do that, but start looking beyond the symmetrical. It's going to make designing your home a lot swifter, and your space is going to be a lot more elevated. And I hate to say this one, but another impractical interior design piece of advice I see people give all the time is to decorate your kitchen. Now, Kiva, didn't you just make a video about kitchen design? Yes, of course. So you should decorate your kitchen, but you should decorate your kitchen with kitchen safe items, or items that belong in the kitchen. So what does that mean? You should not have an oil painting in your kitchen right next to your sink or right next to your oven. If you're doing that and you're okay with ruining it, it's fine. But that to me seems like a waste of money. You can make your kitchen look beautiful with kitchen items. A lot of the decor that I like to use in my kitchen, like my kitchen right now is decorated with garlic. Yes, garlic is a decorative accent these days. It's literally a bowl full of garlic and then a bowl full of potatoes, right? I put them in fun bowls, but they're still functional and practical while looking pretty. You have to keep in mind that a lot of things are not kitchen safe and they're also not bathroom safe, but that is an entirely other video. So instead of using oil paintings and coffee table books in the kitchen, maybe we can explore with, you know, paintings that are covered with a frame and acrylic or glass so that they're protected, so that we're not ruining artwork. Also, use vases in your kitchen. No, don't use the rattan vase that like your sweet and sour sauce is gonna get stuck in, or your mustard is gonna get stuck in, and the vase itself is gonna smell like Grey Poupon. I'm not saying that, but use vases, use still ceramic ones that you can run under the sink and get them nice and clean, right? But also use them for your utensils. You can add kitchen decor, but add kitchen decor that is kitchen safe. I also see people a lot of the time say, oh, hide all of your appliances. No, no. I simply refuse to do that because I want to be able to access my Nespresso. I want to use my toaster. These are things that I use every day and I'm not bending down to do it. You can call me lazy, you can call me whatever you want, but I'm not doing it. So select appliances and cookware that kind of work with your style so that they function as decor, right? So that you can kind of decrease the amount of money you're spending on decorating your kitchen and you're getting something decorative and functional at the same time. Another piece of impractical advice I hear all the time is to rip out your wall-to-wall carpet. Now, if your wall-to-wall carpet was absolutely destroyed by your dog or your cat, or if you have the budget to rip it out, sure, rip it out. But there are actually many functions of a wall-to-wall carpet that are very useful. Wall carpet actually helps to absorb sound. So if you live on top of someone, or even if you live in a standalone house, it helps absorb sound. I don't want to hear what anyone, and I mean anyone, is doing upstairs in their bathroom while I'm in their bathroom or their bedroom when I'm sitting in the living room. That is not my business. I was not invited. I do not want to know. So wall-to-wall carpets are actually very useful because they help to absorb sound. Another reason why people say rip out the wall-to-wall carpet is they're like, oh, it's an ugly color and I can't put a rug on that. To the designer who said that you could not layer rugs on top of carpet, catch me outside. Catch me outside. How about that? You can 100% layer rug on top of carpet. Is it the first choice? No. The first choice would be to layer rug on top of, you know, beautiful, expensive hardwood floors, but no one is paying for that. And if you want to pay, then you can come put it in my house. But until then, you can shut your mouth. Rugs on top of carpet work great. The only time it isn't successful, or the only few times it isn't successful, is the following. One, you put a rug on top of wall-to-wall carpet and you didn't scale the rug correctly, so it's curling up the sides, or it's the exact same size as the wall-to-wall carpet, and then you're still getting the wall-to-wall carpet kind of effect. Two, you got a rug that is the exact same color as the wall-to-wall carpet and therefore it is blending in. If you're not doing those two things, wall-to-wall carpet and rug together can look phenomenal, right? You don't have to rip up the wall-to-wall carpet to get a good look. Put down a rug that is very distinct in pattern, texture, or color, or all three, then that wall-to-wall carpet, and it's going to really elevate your design. You don't have to see wall-to-wall carpet as the enemy. Again, it helps with sound, it helps with cushioning, it helps your space feel nice and cozy. Don't rip it out just because some designer was being elitist. You can have it and it can look good. Now, before I go into this one, I will say that I think these are beautiful. I think that these are beautiful. But the next piece of impractical interior design advice I hear all the time is to add wood beams or faux wood beams to your home. So wood beams are great in cabins and they're great in homes where wood beams are natural to the space. The wood beams are there because they are architectural features that are helping hold up the house. Now, a lot of people are recommending that you erect these in your home to kind of follow along with this trend. The reason why I don't like this trend is, one, it is very expensive. Wood beams are very expensive. Wood is expensive, and it has to be big, right? It has to be long enough to go across the entire width of your room. That is ridiculously expensive. But my biggest qualm with it is it takes away some height from the room. So I love wood beams. I have them in my own home, and no, I did not install them myself. I just live in an industrial home, and they truly are just holding up my ceiling and holding up my wall. But the reason why wood beams are successful in my home is that I have 16-foot ceilings. They're not actually taking away any space from us to walk around. Imagine if I erected these wood beams, which are at least 8 inches thick, in a house that has 9-foot ceilings. That is going to lower your ceiling almost by a foot. almost by a foot. I know that 8 inches and 12 inches are not the same thing, so please don't comment that down below. I can do the math. But you're actually taking away a lot of height. Imagine if you do that with 8-foot ceilings. It's taking away too much height. You need that space to actually exist in. What if you're a really tall person? What if you're carrying something around? What if you decide you want to put in a chandelier, right? Then you have to make sure that the down rod for your chandelier is long enough to kind of clear those beams. And then your chandelier is hanging down a little bit too close for comfort, and you're hitting your head on it when you're standing up at the dinner table. It just is not impractical for standard height ceilings. And most people have standard height ceilings. So do not erect those beams if it doesn't make sense architecturally and height-wise for your home. Last but not least, if your home does not have any other architectural details that would kind of lend itself to the wood beams, they are going to feel out of place. And it's not just about the architecture, it's also about what's outside your windows. If you're putting your wood beams up, right, and you're looking outside because, you know, you can see the window in the sight line and there is no greenery there, you know, if there's no forest where, you know, those wood beams might have come from, it kind of looks funny. When you have the wood beams and then you're staring out at the beach, you're like, where on earth did you get this wood from? Did Poseidon bring it to you? Is there a forest underground that I do not know about? Is there a forest down there? You know, it just does not make as much sense. So it's not something that you necessarily have to buy into. You can get the wood look by, you know, layering cutting boards, by getting a wooden coffee table, by using wooden pedestals. There are a lot of other ways to incorporate the earthy wood look without erecting these beams. It just kind of feels unnecessary to me. Okay, you guys, that's it for today's video. Those are a few pieces of interior design advice that I think are a little bit impractical, and I told you why, and I also told you what you can do instead. But first and foremost, do whatever makes you happy. But that was just my 2 cents. I think these things are a little bit impractical, but we can twist them and amend them to make them work for us. Let me know down below what other interior design trends you think are impractical. I would love to hear them. If you liked today's video, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and check me out on Instagram. And until next time, have a beautiful day.